Welcome to Money Through Ease. I'm your host, Reagan Bashara. You're probably here because you're an entrepreneur or a business owner that thinks that I'm not doing things correctly when it comes to your business finances. If that's you, I want to help you do things correctly. I want to help you do your bookkeeping right. I want to help you understand your finances better so that you can set and achieve your business goals. And that starts with good organization. Yes, you do need to keep your receipts, and I have a free guide on my system for managing your financial paperwork, your receipts, everything that has to do with your business and your taxes. Download this free guide at the link in the show notes. It's called Chaos to Calm. And when you're ready, you can get on a consultation with me to learn more about my offers. But let's get on with the episode. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Money Through Ease. This is your host, Reagan Bashara. Today I have with me Melanie Childers from Melanie Childers Coaching.
Hello, hello.
Air horn noises. Melanie and I have so many mutuals, and then we became mutuals on the TikTok, and we're also Facebook friends, I believe.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love Melanie's posts and how she talks about selling and business, especially for women entrepreneurs. And I so wanted her to come on and share with us how we can be more authentic sellers of our offers and make some fucking money, because it's kind of important that we gotta make shit costs money, so we gotta make some money. And Melanie's
Agreed.
not afraid to talk about that or shy about that at all. So please introduce us who you are and what you do.
Hey, y'all, and thank you. I am so excited to be here and so glad I finally get to meet you and have this conversation. I think it's such an important one to have. I'm Melanie Childers. I am your feminist business coach, and I talk all about messaging to call in those dream clients who are ready to buy because they are out there and in your audience, and selling with integrity. And then once we've done that, we simplify and scale so
Mm,
that you can create lots of money to do the work that you want to do in the world. I believe that the more resources you have, the more resources you can offer to your audience, the bigger an impact you can have, whether that's with your business or with being able to give generously. I think that that's one of my core missions. I think that that's really important
mm.
to a lot of us. So yeah, hi. What's up? I'm glad to be
Hey.
here.
Yeah, we all have shit that we care about, like beyond ourselves, that we want to contribute to. And I think one of the main reasons for me going into business was because I could no longer work somewhere that like just values were clashing. Like it was not meeting up. And it's very important to me that I work in alignment with my values. And I also want to make money. And I also want to be able to like support people and spread the love and spread the money. So I started my business, and tell me if this is true of your clients, but when you start a business, you're just like, all right, I'll do whatever for anybody.
Yep.
And when you talk about scaling, are you talking about getting to that point where you're like, all right, I'm no longer able to do everything for everybody? And so scaling for you is simplifying and maybe narrowing things down and then growing from that place. Can you talk a little bit about what that transition might look like?
Oh yeah. I feel like the first 100 to 200K or so, it was like work with everybody. And I think that, this has definitely been my experience and most of my clients' experiences. And most of them are coaches, content creators,
Mhm.
consultants, educators out in the world who are using like online services and selling online. And so for the first 100, 200K, it's all about I just got to make the sale. I just got to get in front of enough people. I have to help people understand what I'm doing, how I do it, and getting our mindset out of employee mode
Mhm.
into entrepreneur mode. So like you have to start telling yourself what to do and doing what you say and creating a calendar and a schedule and setting goals and milestones and all of this. And so much of that first, you know, couple of six figures is about learning and really just working your ass off to figure out
Yeah.
what's going to sell, how do I need to talk about it, who are the people that I love working with, and how can I succinctly explain what I do and give them a reason to reach out to me to hire me. Um, And then as you start hitting closer to that 250, quarter mil, 300, 400, it's really more about refinement and
Mm.
on up to a million plus. It's really about, okay, well, I've worked with this group of people, this variety of people. What do I love doing? What do I love offering? And starting to really discern, like, who do I love working with? What behaviors do I not want to call in anymore? What types of people do I not want to work with anymore? What types of topics do I not want to cover? And really starting to think about, like, who is my advanced client, who are going to be the
Mm.
higher ticket people, who are the people who are in the intermediate places that are going to be like the mid ticket area. And if I want to work with beginners at all, what are the like DIY things or free resources that I want to give to them? And like thinking through, what do I want to be known for? What do I want to be seen as an expert at in my niche? How can I differentiate myself, make myself stand out? How can I stand in my authority of what I know and offer that with confidence out into the world so that then I can just grow this? And then the rest, like the systems on the back end, can be as simple or as complicated as you want them to be. I have ADHD. I prefer simple.
Yeah.
If it's not simple, I can't scale it.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Do you find that if people aren't very intentional about what their offers are or who they want to work with or what they even want to be doing and when, that it can just like kind of snowball on them and all of a sudden, maybe you wake up one day and you're like, what the hell? Like, I'm in business for myself. I'm supposed to be like listening to myself and making the decisions. And yet here I am doing things that I actually don't love doing and working with people that maybe aren't the best fit. Like, how intentional do we have to be? Do you need to start off that way? Like, we're talking, in the first couple of years of business. So within those first couple of six figures, um, is there a point where you got to like learn to say no to people?
Absolutely. Um, I find that the simplest thing to do is when you are just starting out to make those decisions and to trust.
Mm,
Like decide who is the best fit person that I really want to work with. What are their, psychographics? What do they value? What do they believe in? What are their struggles? What types of behaviors do they have? And what is the one result that they want? And the sooner you can decide that, the faster you will make money.
mhm.
But most people don't do that. Most
Yeah.
people start at, I want to talk to everybody about everything because I don't want to leave anybody out and I don't want anybody to feel excluded and I don't want to miss out on any money. But in
Mm,
truth, the more general you are, the more money you miss out on. And so the more
yeah.
specific you can be, the more money you will make. But most people learn that the hard way because they're scared. Um,
Yeah.
but I find like that discerning moment is when you realize like, okay, I've worked on 1,800 different issues. I've worked with 5,000 different types of people. And there are some things that are boring to me now, that are annoying to me now, that I just don't want to do anymore.
Mhm.
And choosing that level of discernment and then raising like your client standard for I will no longer speak
Yeah.
to this kind of client. I will no longer offer these kind of offers. That is where like the $1 million CEO mindset really starts to kick in.
Yeah. We talk a lot on this podcast about going from that employee mindset to the entrepreneurial mindset. And it is about taking that leadership role in your own business. Like, of course, you did start a business by yourself. And, we're talking about like a solopreneur and you're the one calling all the shots. You are having to make the hard choices. You're having to put the money in and invest in the business to get it funded and get it started up. But if we are coming from an employee position for somebody else and we move into business ownership, it's usually the case that we just bring over everything that we did working for somebody else. And now we're like, oh, like I don't have to do things that way. And I actually shouldn't be doing things the way that I was doing them before. I shouldn't be the one pushing all of the buttons. I should be delegating. I'm shoulding a lot, but you know. It's probably a better choice to delegate, to hire things out, to know like work in your flame, not your wax, all that kind of stuff. And we talk so much about what practical steps to take, what that actually looks like day to day, to make that transition. What do you think is like the most important practical step that people could take maybe today or maybe, once a week for the next couple of months to like move them into that position of being the leader in their own business?
Oh gosh, that's such a good and valuable place to have a conversation. And I think that that was, for me, one of my biggest challenges was
Mhm.
because listen, y'all, I'm Gen X, Libra, Leo, Capricorn. Like you can't tell me shit. I don't want to hear it.
Oh,
And the
nice.
last person I'm a rebel. The last person I'm gonna listen to is me also.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
um, but I knew that I was, I don't want to say not employable. I'm employable, but I'm a difficult employee because I don't like to be micromanaged. I know
Mhm.
what the fuck I'm doing and what I'm talking about. I'm going to get irritated with you if you're like on my shit and asking me what I'm
Mhm.
doing all the time. I don't need that. Um, and so I got very frustrated with the corporate world and knew that I had on my heart a business and a difference to make out in the world in some way. I'd done it before. I was like, but something else is calling me.
Mhm.
Um, but that shift was so incredibly challenging because suddenly there's nobody telling me, hey, here's our goals and here's how we're going to get there. It was
Yeah.
just like, here's the goal. Now what? Well, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Well, but a new
I'm
Netflix
tired.
series just dropped, but I'm
Yeah.
tired. But it's going to take me half a day just to get ready to put my face on. Um, I mean, real talk, y'all.
Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
ADHD, and I have 800 things that sound more fun than this right now.
Right.
Um, but the thing that I think moved the needle the most for me, I tried a whole bunch of different programs out there. I tried like forcing myself into somebody else's like calendar and schedule and
Mm.
do this and do this and do this other thing. But the thing that actually moved the needle for me was the first thing in the morning, I would sit down and I would look at my calendar and then I would write out all of my thoughts about my calendar.
Mm.
And there was so much resistance
Mhm.
just to sitting down and writing an email or sitting down and making a video or sitting down and making a social media post. And I just wanted to bring awareness to that. I was like, what are all the thoughts that bubble up about what's on my to-do list today? How do they make me feel?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm creating a business that feels like shit because of the way
Mhm.
that I'm thinking and feeling just about my calendar and my to-do list.
Yeah.
And I did that for 6 months. And then I got really fucking tired of the same shit coming up. And I was like, okay, so what are we going to do different? How do we want to feel different? And I was like, you know what? I started this business. I want to make a difference, but I also want to feel lit up and energized and motivated. So,
Yeah.
what thoughts do I need to practice to feel that way? What thoughts make me feel that way about my to do list or about what's on my calendar today or about my business as a whole? And which one of those can I just start practicing on purpose?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I love what I do. Okay, let's go write an email. Let's see how that
Yeah.
makes me feel. Let's go write an email. Okay, I love my clients. I love this offer. I love what I'm selling. I love what I get to do every day. Okay, let's use that as fuel.
Yeah.
And that absolutely changed the game for me. I don't have to do that exercise anymore. But I did it for a solid 6 months before I was like, okay, I'm tired of staring at the same bullshit every day. I'm ready to do something different.
Yeah, I think I've heard Kelly Linjul is my sales coach, and
Mhm.
she's talked about this concept. Like you get to a point where you're like fucking sick of your own shit. And
Facts.
you might be able
Facts.
to change shit before you get to that point, but a lot of us gotta get sick of our own shit before we make any changes. And
It's
I'm
true.
like, I've gotten there a couple times and been like, okay, I see, I hear you, I heard it, I heard enough. Okay, fine, I'll
Yep,
fucking
yep. I see it. I
change
see
it.
it.
Look. All right, I guess I should have listened. And
But
like,
really like
yeah.
that fuel, when you look at what fuel is driving me today and what fuel do I want to choose, that one question, I guess it's technically two questions, but that changes everything
Mhm.
because no longer can you abide by, feeling like you're dragging yourself through a slog every day or feeling like really frustrated every day. It's like, wait, no, this is not the business I wanted to create. Let
Yeah.
me purposefully pick some emotions and see what I can do with that. What motivates me? What fuels me? What energizes me? That
Yeah.
fuel is absolutely priceless. That is how I get everything done now.
Yeah. And the calendar is such a big like trigger point, I guess you could call it, for so many people because you don't have that boss micromanaging you or even checking up on your progress. Even if somebody's not micromanaging you, you might have a weekly meeting where they're like, "Can you tell me about where we're at with this project?" Um,
And you're
you
like, I
might
scroll
consider
Facebook for 6 days straight. What?
I made some TikToks. Like
I know.
you might consider that micromanagement, but I don't actually think that it is. But if you don't have anybody to like report to and that external accountability being applied to you, it's not necessarily pressure, but just like somebody else to like say, "Hey, where you said you were going to do this thing. So like what happened? Did you do it?" When that's you, it's like I love to give myself breaks. I love to take naps and I have the balance on my calendar. So like, okay, if I know I'm really actually going to get tired after lunch, maybe give myself an hour after I eat. Like, why do I need to fight that about myself? And if you don't want to work on Mondays, then I'm sorry, but you're the one making the rules here. Like, you could
Yep.
totally decide not to work on Mondays.
100%. I love that. Yeah, I found the
Yeah.
calendar very triggering as well. And I had that struggle between like taskmaster
Mm.
and the employee who's doing the task. And I was like, being a boss to myself sucks. I thought it was going to be so much better,
Yeah.
but I don't even want to do what I tell me to do. So how am I going to do what's on my calendar? And that going to that deep purpose and that why in your business
Mm.
of like, why are you serving these people? Why did you start this? What does this mean over the long term? Not just what does it mean today?
Yeah.
What does accomplishing this one task mean today? Gave me that sort of long-term commitment and as fuel as well. And I know for anybody listening, like if you feel personally attacked by your calendar, that to me is like that was me. I was like, this thing is like screaming at me, and I am this rude. Rude.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So the questions that you're saying, if anybody's sitting down and like really struggling with one area, it doesn't even have to be their calendar, but asking yourself, like, how do I feel about this? What thoughts are causing those feelings? And then how do I want to feel about this? What could I like think or conjure up and get myself into that kind of headspace? I was talking to a business owner yesterday who is an artist. Well, actually, they're wanting to start an art business. They are a painter, but they want to actually start like selling, showing their art, having like collections and creating content, all of that. But they haven't done anything yet. And they were like, I, don't want it to get flipped to where art is something that I enjoy, and then all of a sudden it becomes a business and it becomes something that I have to be accountable to, and I have a schedule for content and I need to make sure that I sit down and paint because I have a deadline if I want to have 10 paintings to sell by June. And they were like, they're just like not taking any action because of that. Like, I'm afraid that I'm going to turn into a little bit of a of a miser about this to myself. And I'm like, okay, well, what space do you get in mentally to sit down and paint? Because you don't paint or create or do any sort of art from a space of I have to do this because I got to make money. That's not where like creativity comes from. So if you can get into the space for creativity and like flow for painting, can we just like slide that over here to your business stuff? Is there a way that you can make it playful and fun and like invite yourself to be creative in that process? Like, it doesn't have to be like black or white, left brain, right brain. I talk a lot about like I'm a science person, I'm a numbers witch, like, but I also like to paint and like do shitty art and stuff. Like
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
Is there a way we can just like take the playfulness over here and like slide it over so that like when it comes to your business, it doesn't feel like that drag and that slog and like you're managing yourself really poorly.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. That's exactly it. Is like, how do you take the passion and the motivation that you have in other areas and slot it into the things that
Hmm.
you might resist just on default? Because
Yeah.
it's going to add so much more fun to those things, even if you still don't like fall in love with doing them. It's like
Yeah.
we're not trying to like gaslight yourself into like enjoying something. But like just how could you add like some fun to it? How could you add some
Yeah.
play to it? Like
Hmm.
my word of the year, I think last year or the year before was fun,
Hmm.
because this is what I have a very strong taskmaster,
Yeah.
type A brain. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, we got to add some more fun or this is just
Yeah.
going to like sap our will to live. And that's not why we
Yeah.
did this.
Exactly. One of my business values is humor. And I had somebody on the podcast recently and they were like, I was looking at your website and I've never seen that as like a value for someone's business. And
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God, yes.
oh yeah. Like I put gifts in like every email that I send. Like I'm being goofy with you on TikTok. Like I'm having a good time over here. We're laughing, we're making jokes. My jokes are terrible, but like I'm having a great time. And I want to invite my people in to have fun with me because yeah, money fucking is really uncomfortable for a lot of people to talk about. And like that's all I do is fucking talk about money. So, you know, I'm gonna make a joke so that you can just like shake it off and like, chill out a little bit. Like it's not that serious
Right?
most
It's
of
like
the time.
unclench. It's
Yeah.
just paper.
Yeah. So like, yeah, we want to make more money and we're not going to do that by like gripping the steering wheel through this process. You're going to hurt yourself if you're like so wound up and tight. And I'm like, yeah, I love to laugh and have fun and like I want my business to be about that because otherwise I'd be like every other fucking accountant that that just like
Right.
is real buttoned
Boring and
up. That's
stuffy and buttoned up.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's not me.
Exactly. Let me tell you, on my first website, I listed my values and humor was the number one.
Nice.
And I'm the kind of person who, like, I got breast cancer at 34. And I
Mm.
was like, we are laughing all the way through this
Yeah.
because otherwise I will just melt into
Yeah.
just oblivion. And like,
Yeah.
how about let's just not, let's
Yeah.
just like put on
Yeah.
ridiculous makeup and giant hoop
Mhm.
earrings and tell
Mhm.
everybody to fuck off. It'll be fun.
Mhm. Yeah, now I'm gonna fucking go to the wig store, bitches. Like
Exactly.
we're
Got this
gonna go
giant
get
purple wig.
pitted
I was like,
for
let's
some
go.
hair. Yeah.
I'm
I
going to flip
love
it and it
that.
might fall off and it's fine. It'll be fun.
Yes. I love that because I've had last year was like kind of rough for me health wise and just personally and um I also had the mindset of like if I'm not laughing I'm gonna be crying. So
Yep.
guess what I'm
I
gonna be
really do
doing?
think, yeah, I really do think that humor is the best medicine. And the more fun that we can have in our businesses, the more money we ultimately make because
Hmm.
the fails and the downtimes don't sting so much.
Yeah.
And I think what happens to so many people is like they experience failure. Like you try to launch and it didn't go the way you thought, or you posted a TikTok series and nothing happened, or you sent an email and nobody clicked. And it's like, especially when we're socialized as women, we're taught that everything is about us and our fault,
Hmm.
whether it's about us or not, but everything's our
Yep.
fault. And so we take that failure very, very personally. And
Yeah.
when you can have some lightness and some humor about it and start to understand that, no, that's just business.
Hmm.
That's just the nature of conducting a scientific experiment and seeing if it
Yep.
worked or not,
Yep.
then it's not so freaking serious. And
Yeah.
you don't feel like you're drowning or like everything's not working. It's just like, oh, okay, we tried a thing. Haha, let's learn from it and try again.
Yeah. I am in the middle of a launch at the time we're recording this, and I have to keep reminding myself, like, we're just kind of collecting data right now. There's absolutely no need to freak out. Nobody's dying. every time I get coached, it's like, oh yeah, nobody's dying. Like we're just having a silly goofy time. We're trying to get people to click on stuff so that we can see what they clicked. Like that's it. And that's
Yep.
okay because like I'm not relying on the sales of this thing to like pay my bills right now. This is going to be gravy and it's something I want to put out in the world. I've like had this creative idea for a long time, so like it's going to get put out in the world. But whether or not people buy it isn't like it's not my survival is not based on that. And so that allows me to kind of remove myself from it and be like, okay, fine, I'll just run my little experiment and like see what happens, I guess.
I
Fine.
love that. I think that scientist mindset is one of the most important things that you can have in a business
Mhm.
to stay persistent and resilient, even
Yeah.
even when you're conducting an experiment, even when you don't know if things are going to work, even when you're trying something new. Like that is the most important thing you can do, is just remember that, hey, we're just, everything that you're putting out is just words on a screen, and we're just
Yeah.
seeing what words work, and we're just
Yeah.
seeing what people respond to, and we're just seeing what people click.
Yeah. Because you got
And
shit that
taking,
needs to go out there. So like
yeah,
we need to put it
100%.
in front of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit about like if we get to that point where like, all right, I'm invested in a little science experiment, so let me go run this thing. You've been talking a lot lately about getting people to look at your content and then click. Like, what is the thing? What is the juice that we need to just like inject into emails, social media marketing, short form video, whatever the is, however you are like putting yourself in front of somebody to be like, here's my thing. How do we get that content to make them click?
Oh my goodness. Well, there's a lot that goes into it, but if we're being as simple and strategic as possible, be clear
Mm.
more than you are clever, and be
Damn.
bold. Be bold, right? It's
I
like
like being
the
clever.
simplest things that you can say. Listen, like the things that actually work are speaking to the people's desire that they
Mm.
already have. That means you never have to convince, you never have to
Yeah.
like get them to talk them into wanting the results that you offer. Trust that they already want it and speak to that deep desire and why they want it.
Mm.
And they will be eating out of your hands in the best possible way because they already want that thing.
Hmm.
And honestly, like the things that have shifted so much for me is no longer talking so much about the struggle. The people who are actively looking for a solution, your solution right now, they have money to spend. They are willing to spend it, or they are willing to find it
Hmm.
because they want that thing, whatever it is that you offer, so much. And so when
Hmm.
you can just speak it in their language, the language they use, you don't have to put on your professorial hat, your PhD expert brilliance.
Yeah.
You can just say it in the way that they say it. They're already like, oh my God, yes, you're absolutely right. I do want that. Yes, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then just inject a little bit of your personal flavor, your personality. Like people buy as much your personality as they buy the result that they want
Hmm.
at the end of the day.
Yeah. If they can like see that you're somebody they would vibe with, they're like, okay, well, that takes me
Yeah.
like 90% of the way there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I do not talk as an accountant. I cannot say all of my big fancy words. I have got to like I stop when I'm recording a video, I will like stop and be like, nope, can't say that. What are the other words that like everybody will know what I mean when I say this? I've
Exactly.
I've found a way because yeah, like I could sit here and talk all the way up here over people's heads and they're just like, I don't fucking what? Like you're never gonna teach me anything if you're talking to me like this. I do have to like bring it to their level, use the language that they use in their businesses every day. And that's what I tell them when I sit down with them. I'm like, well, how do you describe the income the money that people give you, what do you call it? Like we can just put that on your bookkeeping as that word. Like it's okay to do that. And they're like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's like rules to taxes, but there's not like we have some ways that we can like make it legible.
Yeah.
And
Help
that's
you
totally
understand.
okay. Yeah.
Listen, the only class I dropped in college was accounting because I was so messed up getting my head around debits and credits. I was like, this is dumb
Yeah.
and I don't have time for this. I'm in my senior year. This is a waste of my time.
Let me tell you how many times I Google the debit and credit chart about which one I'm supposed to use when, because I get messed up on that shit all the time
Yeah,
too.
it's
It's
ridiculous. It's
just,
ridiculous.
I'm not
Like, can
having
we
to
just
take a test.
money in, money out? Can we just
Yeah.
have that?
That's literally the terminology I use. I'm like, all right, when money comes to you, we call it this. And then when money goes away, we call it that. And then people are like,
Exactly.
oh, okay, I got it. I got it. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So, another thing that you put talking about is that broke ass money mindset and how how do we turn that around? Because broke money mindset ain't gonna get us not broke. Like that's not how anything works. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, from what I have seen, and this is true, this has been true for me and it's been true for a lot of clients, is we get into that. It's a very easy thing for our human brains to do because our human brains are constantly scanning our environment for things to be afraid of. And so
Yeah.
it's very easy to get into scarcity mindset when it comes to money.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that I've had so many clients experience is they're like, I'm on a sales call and I tell somebody my price. And the first thing that person does is go, well, I can't afford that.
Mm.
And it's like, well, where are you looking? Oh, I'm looking in my bank account.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, it's probably not sitting there. Most people don't budget for this kind of service, whatever it is.
Yeah.
What other possibilities exist? And then they're like, oh yeah, I have credit cards with like 5 grand on them, or I have this savings account, or I have this thing over here, I have this thing over here. And
Yeah.
it is so incredibly common. And especially for those of us socialized as women, we got the messages that we were not good with money, that
Mm.
it wasn't ours to spend, that we need to ask permission, that we need to make sure that it goes as far as possible, and that we should offer our services for as free or as cheap as possible because they were less worth less. And I use that in quotes and as two
Yeah.
words, worth less than those socialized as men. So
Mm.
I find so many people have a lot of mental unfucking to do around the stories that we have about money
Yep.
and our allowing ourselves to have permission to essentially give ourselves the permission to have a lot of money and make a lot of money and keep a lot of money and invest a lot of money.
Mm.
That is, unfortunately, in the world that we live in, that is power.
Yeah.
And if you want to be a powerful person who is out there leveraging and making a difference in the way that I personally want to make a lot of difference in politics, if I want to
Yeah.
do that, I need to make a lot of money in order to make that happen.
Mm-hmm.
But that can be as small as let me start in my local community, but you still need to have the resources to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the resources is time, and sometimes the resource is money, and sometimes it's, your talents.
Yeah.
Mine personally is money. And so
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm have my brain in that abundant mindset, in that I know how to sell, I know how to make money anytime I want. I know how to turn on the faucet of clients with my words. I
Mm-hmm.
know how to serve people at the highest level. I know how to make money and I
Mm-hmm.
deserve to make it and I deserve to charge for my services. Those are the kinds of things that I tell myself and talk through to myself
Yeah.
so that I can feel like I'm sort of surfing money thoughts instead of feeling like drowned and dragged by the waves of
Mm.
scarcity thoughts.
Yeah.
That makes it so much easier for me to sell. It's like, okay, I'm riding this wave. Let's fucking go. Instead of, oh
Yeah.
no, no one's going to buy. I'm going to drown. Everything's going to be terrible. Like that does not help me do
Yeah.
anything.
And people can sniff out that energy too, by the way.
100%.
They
Yeah.
can
When you are
totally
selling, if
tell.
you are desperate, if you need a sale, people can tell.
Yeah. Which is kind of unfortunate sometimes. But reframing it, like for me, it was helpful to reframe it as like, yes, I need money to like live and survive and pay my bills, but this person also needs what the fuck I got. Like, I got the expertise. I can fix your QuickBooks shit so that you're not feeling stupid because
Yeah.
QuickBooks makes everybody feel stupid.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah. And so there's like a matchup of like, I do need money and this person needs my fucking help. And they're like, I'm willing to exchange the help. They're willing to exchange the money. We both kind of agree on that exchange is like, cool. We agree.
Yeah.
And
It's like a yes
when
and, right?
yeah. And people, I don't like when people say like money is energy and blah blah blah. Money is just like currency. Like we're just passing it back and forth all of the time. You pass money to your mortgage lender so that you can live in your house. You pass money to the person in the drive-through lines, then give you your coffee. Like it's just we're just passing it around. So it's okay to say, I agree that that person needs my help, and I would also like to have money come my way for that help. And you get to
Yeah.
decide what that is. Like you just get to pick a number and like it's actually not a reflection on like your worthiness, your value, worthiness, like you were saying. It's all about an agreement of what needs to be exchanged, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that too. I don't love the whole money is energy vibe or teaching. I don't love it either. I went
Yeah.
down that rabbit hole for a minute and I was like, okay, that's really interesting, but I don't think I agree here.
Yeah.
Um, but I do love that it really is just an exchange of value for services, value for
Mm.
goods.
Hmm.
And when you come into selling, that is all you need. Selling is a service. You are
Yeah.
giving someone something that they have a need and a desire for, and they are giving you money in exchange. And that's
Yeah.
all it is. It is that simple. It doesn't have to be grimy or sleazy or gross. It's only that way when you are coming from that needy, desperate scarcity energy
Hmm.
that it can come off that way. But if you decide, hey, selling is just serving people, and
Yeah.
I'm helping them get something that they want.
Yeah.
They already want it and they need it and they're asking me to help them, then yes, of course it's going to cost money and we're going to do a value exchange.
Yeah. I've found it helpful to say or to think on purpose that like the people that need my help are out there and they don't yet know about me. So like it's kind of in both of our favors to show up and be like, "Hi, here's me. I know that you need help with this thing." And I've kind of like trained the algorithm for my videos like to like put it in front of the people that need me. And I've had a lot of really amazing sales and connected with so many people recently because I was like, "All right, I keep getting this, like the algorithm is showing these folks what I have to say. So I might as well be like, all right, here's how we're going to do this." And then they get to make the choice to just click the button. Like it's beautiful. And I I appreciate what the algorithm gives. I take it's like a divine like gift or offering. Like I offer my TikTok videos and the algorithm, appreciates my sacrifice. But like I've totally found a way to like work with that and like it's benefiting me, but it's also like they're getting something that they need too. They're getting something really
100%.
valuable. And the more business owners, and I'm sure you feel this way too, the more business owners I can help, like the better off we're all going to be.
100%.
My people need help.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I'm like, the more I get in front of, the more that know about me, the more that know about what I do, what we do, the better the world will be. The better businesses will be, the more money women will be making,
Yeah.
and the more good we do with that money, quite frankly.
Yeah.
That's my plant my flag on that one.
Yeah. I'm here for it. I always ask this of my guests, but do you have any tips that you would give to yourself 2, 5, 10 years ago? Maybe it was a tip that you did hear at that time, but you didn't like take it in and like use it. That would be me. I heard a bunch of shit that I didn't listen to until later. I'm like, okay.
Yep, yep. Yeah, I think that there are things that you're capable of hearing at certain times in your
Mm,
business and things that you are just not.
yeah.
Um, Yeah, I think 2 years ago, I would have said create some lower ticket offers to give
Mm,
people a taste of your higher ticket stuff.
yeah.
And that was definitely what I needed to hear then. 5 years ago, I would have said, slow the fuck down, slow your brain down,
Oh, yeah.
write to one person about one problem,
Mm,
and only sell that one thing to that person with that
yeah.
problem instead of trying to. It felt like I was throwing spaghetti against the wall with marketing and selling and learning. Like I had a business before that, but I had a basically like a blue ocean market. I knit and crochet and I dyed yarn and sold it.
Mm,
And so like I had a website that had 1 million+ people on it that literally all I had to do was drop into a group and go, "Hey, I have yarn," and it would be sold like that. Like it was
yeah.
easy. I didn't have to learn how to market and sell in a really
Yeah.
powerful way, and I didn't have to learn how to sell myself. Like I had a product. I was just like, "Here you go. I made
Yep.
it. Isn't it pretty?" And they would go, "Yes,
Do
I
you
would like
like
all of
it?
it, please."
Yes.
Right. And so learning how to sell yourself, I think, is the one of the biggest shifts that
Mm,
so many service-based entrepreneurs have to do. And you have to believe 100% in what you are offering, in the results that you help people get, even if
yeah.
that's just you at the beginning. That confidence will take you so incredibly far.
Mm. Yeah, and you don't need like a shiny trophy or a piece of paper with a degree and a school name on it. People need you, and the faster you get there, the better off you're going to be. I'm in my 10th year of being a bookkeeper. Um, so like April, May is my 10th year college anniversary graduation, and I've been doing
Congrats.
bookkeeping since then. Thank you.
That's awesome.
I'm like, oh, I made it to 10 years. Now you can all bask in my like expertise and
Yes,
glory. And I'm like,
exactly.
I mean, I'm not that much different than I was like a year ago or 2 years ago in terms of like my skill level. Like I've been here like in a pretty good place for a while. And it is like you don't need the same accolades that you see other people have, or that you see other people leveraging or marketing. Like you can just be like talking about what you do that is amazing and unique, and that will be enough. Like you will be enough, I think is really the message that just needs to like, period. You are
Yeah,
enough.
and you are already enough and you already know enough.
Yeah.
And like let what you're doing be enough and just go, be bold, be unapologetic. Put yourself out
Yeah.
there. I think one of the big things that I see so many, like especially folks who are starting out, is they're like, "Oh, but my Facebook feed has my mom and my aunt and my cousin and it's like,
Great.
awesome, delete and block them bitches because you need to go sell to the people that you need to sell to, and it's not them. If you're worried about what
Yeah.
they're going to think about you, put them on the back burner. Give them some
Yeah.
other way to like get in touch with you, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they're not part of your audience. They shouldn't be dictating what you do in the back end of your business ever.
Yeah, I definitely let a lot of people sit in the background and chatter away my brain too much, and like I let them get quieter and quieter, but I'm like, they're still kind of back there, like, "Meh, meh, meh, meh." I'm like, cut that out. They are not paying the bills, they're not signing any
Nope.
checks, like, relax.
Yep. Don't worry about them. Don't talk to them.
Yeah. What would you like to share with the audience about where they can find you, how we can work with you if we're ready to make some badass content and call in our best clients?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. So everything that I have on offer is at melaniechilders.com. That homepage has how to sign your next 3 FYA clients, how to tweak your messaging to call in ready to buy folks, as well as the Feminist Business Accelerator, where we put all of that into practice with my 7-figure eyes on your content and your copy and your sales pages and your funnels and all of that fun shit so that we are blowing it up at a pace that feels good for you. I like to go fast. Some people need to take their time. It's okay. It's paced out so that you can do it at your pace.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank
Yeah,
you
I'm
so
not, I'm definitely
much.
not in like the like let's run as fast as possible. That's just me.
Mm. Sometimes at 3 a.m. my brain wants to go fast, but
Same.
then in the
Same.
morning it's like, oh, wait a minute.
I
I'm
need some
just
coffee
kidding.
first, please.
Yes. So I will have all of that. I'll have your website and the links, and you also have a podcast. Tell us
I
about
do.
that.
Yeah, I'm over at the Bad Bitch Entrepreneur. Come check it out. I've got lots of great content. We're almost 3 years in now, and she's just picking up some good
Amazing.
steam and having lots of fun over there.
Congrats. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Um, yeah, I'll have all that information so that everybody can go interact with Melanie, learn from her, watch her videos. They're super entertaining and fun and will really make you think about like, what am I doing in my business? Thanks so much for being on and for sharing your expertise and your amazing content with our audience too. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been an absolute blast.
Yeah, and it was nice to finally meet you
I know, right?
too.
We'll have to circle back and like hang out and stuff for real.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Money Through Ease. If you found value in today's discussion, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and leave a rating and review. Your feedback really does mean a lot to me. And if you're ready to take the first step towards organized finances, be sure to download my free receipt organization guide, Chaos to Calm. Visit the link in the show notes to grab your free copy now. Remember, your financial journey starts with small steps. I'm here to support you every step of the way. Until next time, this is Reagan Bashara from Money Through Ease. Stay empowered.